All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. And at this time, I'd like to, don't see a lot of visitors in the audience, but if there is any visitors that want to speak on anything that's not on our agenda for new business today, this is an opportunity to do so. And seeing none, I'd like to move on to the minutes for February 22nd, 2023. And if there's any discussion or motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the minutes from February 22nd, 2023, please.
Motion has been made. Any discussion or a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. On the approval of the minutes for Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023. And moving on to new business. This is from the Berea Tourism. So this is a city office, City of Berea, 635 Chestnut Street, and the request is for a dimensional variance for an electronic sign in a B2 zone. And someone, Amanda, I'm not sure, has graciously printed off what KRS statute states requiring 4 variances. So pursuant to KRS 100.241 to 100.251, and I'll just list the findings per 100.243, include but are not limited to this following. And these shall be recorded along with the imposed conditions or restrictions in the minutes of record for which constitutes proof of the variance. So the 4 items are: the requested variance arises from special circumstances which do not generally apply to land in the general vicinity or in the same district. Such special circumstances are not the result of actions of the applicant taken subsequent to the adoption of these regulations. C, the strict application of the provisions of the regulations would deprive the applicant of a reasonable use of the land or would create an unnecessary hardship on the applicant. And D, reasons that the variance will not adversely affect the public health, safety, and welfare, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, and will not cause a hazard or a nuisance to the public. And with that, we'll take a presentation on what the request is.
So I will swear you in if you'll raise your right hand and state your name.
Bill West.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me tonight. As Mr. Bill stated, we're requesting variance on the electronic sign size. This particular site, where we're wanting to place the sign, is about 300 feet to the center line of the highway. So it's quite a distance. The sign would be facing the highway as you look towards the bottom of that picture. We're asking for a variance of the 12 square feet that's in code to the 30 square feet. The sign, we think, doesn't really have a too adverse effect on the surrounding sight lines because it's within the structure of the building. I think she distributed a picture showing that. So unlike a sign that's on a post or something like that, it's not in the skyline at all. It's below the skyline. We think the signage is very good for the city. We intend to use the sign for public service announcements, public safety announcements, promote public events, promote tourism, promote small business in the area, and promote school events. There might be a few other things, but that's generally our intent to use that sign. So all those are, basically putting a sign that's going to be used for the public. We don't see how it had any adverse effect on the neighbors, and we are asking for you to give us this variance. Any questions?
I just wonder if we might be able to get an image of the sign rendering, something that if there's anybody watching, they'd be able to see what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's a rendering. This is a little misleading. The one that I distributed to you shows a more accurate representation of the size of the sign, how it will be mounted on the building. This image portrays the sign being a little bit larger than it actually will be. So the sign will not come out as far to each side. It will look more like the image that I distributed to you. So a little bit smaller than this. It'll be 3 feet tall, 10 feet wide. And while I have the floor, I will just state that we did send all notices as required, and I do have one public comment that was given whenever you're ready for that.
I think we're ready.
So I did receive one letter, an email for tonight's meeting that says I'm writing in reference to an electrical sign that is being discussed for the property of 304 Chestnut Street. As an adjacent homeowner at 105 Chestnut Court, I would not agree to being able to see such sign from my property vantage point, nor have it affect my property in any way. And just to clear that up a little bit, the address that we are requesting, or that the applicant is requesting, is for 635 Chestnut Street. And of course, as I showed on the aerial image, that is the pavilion, otherwise known as the Farmers Market Pavilion, on the corner of Chestnut Street and Mount Vernon Road. And then this letter came from the owner of 105 Chestnut Court, which is along this street.
Can you show me where 105 Chestnut Court is?
I believe it's this house. But let me put some addresses on here to just be sure.
I think it's behind it.
Yes.
Oh,
So it's that first house on Chestnut Court on the left.
okay.
Just curious if there are any line-of-sight residences across the street on Chestnut Street?
So there is, just across the street is going to be, of course, this building is under renovation currently. It was the Mario's Pizza building, and it is now being renovated for Just Love Coffee. This building is being demolished, so that won't affect anything. And then this building is Gold Star Chili, all of which are commercial uses. And, we'll have their own signage.
That structure that looks like a residence behind the new development, that is not a residence, is it? Just-
This guy,
Not the, yeah. I seem to.
I think it's used as, it's on Estridge Court, and I
Daycare,
actually
right?
think that's used as a daycare.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And as Mr. West stated, our regulations currently allow 12 square feet in a B2 zone. And, which would be like a 3x4. And I think their justification in this case was just because it's being set so far back off of the road.
That's correct.
With regards to the email from 105 Chestnut Court, would the compliance sign be an issue for them? Well, I guess what I'm asking is, they could put that 3x4 sign up there and not have an issue, not be before us, and not need any input from surrounding property.
That's correct.
Okay.
So yes, they are allowed an electronic sign. We do have requirements on the intensity level of those signs. That's already written in our regulations, and just as you said, they could put that size sign up and not be before this board. We would approve that sign permit.
And I guess one would define intensity as like the
Brightness.
brightness, not the overall light output. So I'm not seeing a request for any variance of that intensity limit.
There is no request for variance of intensity. We intend to stay within the code on intensity.
So the only difference is it's gonna be longer, not
Yes, sir.
taller.
And another question, is this on just the face of that building, or does the roof extend out just a little bit?
The roof extends out. There is an overhang. I believe there is an overhang,
Okay.
isn't there, Donna or Bill? Do either of you know?
Yeah, there's about a 2-foot overhang from the front post line, which is what this sign's line up with to the front.
Okay,
So it's,
Yeah, so
so that
where
should-
this is mounted will be back in here.
okay.
And this roof does come out, project out a little further. Is that correct?
that's my understanding, yes.
Okay, yes.
Okay,
That's
so
what
then
I
the
thought.
left side of that building should be able to catch some of the light that would go,
I think it would be shielded with that roof line.
gotcha.
And 105 is almost straight across from that building. It appears.
I think it's even blocked by another building.
Yeah.
It's right there.
So it's right here. So you might see it if you were if her property, if this property, Miss Tate's property, comes to here, and I'm not sure exactly where the property line is, but you might be able to see it from the front corner of her lot.
I would suspect there are no guidelines for the hours of operation of the sign.
Any other thoughts, discussion? There are certainly lots of signs in that area with the gas station across the street. And there's not, I'm trying to think what other questions might come up for folks. It's not something that's going to be used for advertising in terms of like other businesses.
No, just to promote small business in the area.
Okay, but it's not,
Might be things that might be going on.
right, my point is it's not something that is going to
Non-commercial.
be charged to any businesses to
No.
put their own advertising up or anything like that, yeah.
No, we will have no charges for anybody to sign.
Yeah.
It's a public service.
Well, the chair's open, and welcome to a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the electronic sign at 635 Chestnut Street in a B2 zone. The sign will be 30 square feet because the variance will not adversely affect the public health, safety, and welfare, and will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, and will not cause a hazard or a nuisance to the public.
Motion has been made
I second that motion.
and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And for variance for 32 square foot electronic sign at 6, did I get it right? 635 Chestnut Street. With the statement that it doesn't adversely affect the health, safety, and welfare, not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, and will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public. Thank you very much.
We thank you. Appreciate it.
Just a question, Amanda, is there any movement on the short-term rental terms of looking into planning and zoning ordinance for a short-term rental that we discussed.
Yep, so we have gotten the language nailed down. We have sent it to our attorney to review, and those changes, there are other changes that need to be made to that land management development ordinance. I'm thinking April will be the month that we take it to Planning Commission for their meeting and public hearing. I'm trying to do this in conjunction with, we are also rewriting our stormwater ordinance and some documents that go along with that. And so that just seemed to be a good timeline for me to take the changes to the land management development ordinance and those stormwater changes kind of all as a bundle, to get all the documents that we need updated, taken and passed at one time. So we should be ready to take that to Planning Commission, at least for work sessions and, or I'm sorry, at least for public hearings of the Planning Commission in April. And then I anticipate taking them to City Council in May.
Excellent.
And I'll let you know if that does or does not happen. Certainly will let you know when it gets adopted.
Thank you very much.
You'll probably see the change because we'll probably have a fall off of meetings since we've had a lot of short-term rentals lately. That will change that.
Yep.
Okay.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.